Hey, my name is Jim. I run this account called CGC Sports Illustrated, and today's video, by popular demand, because I did a video several weeks ago where I talked about the best sleeper issues from the modern era. Well, people kept messaging me and saying, well, now you got to do one about the vintage era. So that's what we're going to do. These are going to be the top vintage era sleeper issues. Couple of things. First, though, I would be completely remiss if I didn't mention that just this week, we set a new all-time record for a price paid for a graded Sports Illustrated. It happened at Heritage Auction. It was Sandy Koufax. It wasn't even his first issue. I think it was his second cover from 1964, graded at 9.8, sold on Heritage Auction for almost $33,000. Very big, very exciting for the hobby. And if you watched my predictions for 2023, you know I'm already wrong on one of my predictions. I predicted that we would not see a new record broken in 2023, and I'm very, very happy to be wrong about that. A couple of disclaimers. I'm always talking about newsstand issues. I don't collect subscription issues. Whenever I talk about anything, we're always talking about newsstand issues. And then number two, I do my best to let you know when I own a specific issue that I'm talking about. And so that's just so that you know where I stand on it personally. And then you guys make up your own minds. You go ahead and make up your own mind from there. Okay, let's rock and roll. So these are the top sleeper issues from the modern era, and I took the modern era, or from the vintage era, sorry, top sleeper issues from the vintage era, and I defined vintage era as 1954 when Sports Illustrated started, all the way up through 1989. I defined vintage or modern as 1990 and forward. So first one up here. This is September 13th, 1954. One of the very first Sports Illustrated issues. I think this is the fifth issue they ever produced. I love this cover, and here's why I love this cover. It is the first appearance of a Ferrari on Sports Illustrated. We always think about first appearances of athletes and stuff like that. There's a massive collectible industry out there for everything related to Ferrari. Ferraris graced the cover of Sports Illustrated several times. And this is the first one. Pop counts on it. There's 11 of them. There's a 9.6, a 9.4, and two 9.2s. There's a lot of these. So I'm going to be going through these quick. Similar to the sleeper modern issues where I had like 40. I think I got almost 40 again. So we're just going to kind of crank through these and whip them out here. Y.A. Tittle. So this is Sports Illustrated, November 22nd, 1954. This guy's a huge, huge football player back in the 50s. Played for the 49ers, Hall of Famer, all-time great. Some of these, when I think of sleeper issues, you can set any definition you want. But when I think of them, I think of, okay, you might not think of this issue as being really collectible, or pop count factors into it as well. And I think there's both of it with this. So first Y.A. Tittle cover from 1954. There's only 6 copies that have ever been graded. The highest is 8.5. I used to own that 8.5, sold it years and years ago. But really, really a great looking cover. Super tight headshot, very intimate shot there of Y.A. Tittle on this cover from 1954, and I absolutely love that one. Okay, next up. When we talk about golf, everybody talks about Jack and Arnold and Tiger, and there are still some huge superstars out there that I think fly under the radar. I think Ben Hogan is one of them. This is his first Sports Illustrated cover from April 4th, 1954. Pop count is 14. There are 4 9.4s, 2 9.0s, or 2 9.2s, and 4 9.0s. So beautiful shot to a Ben Hogan taking his drive. You got the fairway and the fans on the side. That's just a gorgeous looking cover there. Okay, similar to golf, boxing. You think Ali, you think Tyson, maybe George Foreman, that sort of stuff. Floyd Patterson was Ali before Ali. I mean, the guy was just incredible. So this is his first Sports Illustrated cover, June 4th, 1956. Pop count, 3. That's it. There's an 8.5 and 2 7.5s. I do own a couple copies of these. They're at CGC being graded right now. First Floyd Patterson, definitely a sleeper vintage issue. Next up, this is a great one. I love multiple Hall of Famers on a cover. So this is Ernie Banks' first Sports Illustrated issue, July 9th, 1956. Was the first time Ernie Banks ever showed up on a Sports Illustrated cover. But also on this one, you've got Mickey Mantle and Stan Musial and Duke Snider and Yogi Berra, just a ton of great Hall of Famers. July 9th, 1956. Pop count is 17. There's a 9.2 and a 9.0. I do own this. I think I got that at 7.5. Next up, Paul Hornung. Again, amazing player, All-American at Notre Dame, Hall of Famer with the Green Bay Packers, won multiple championships. Pop count on this one is what drives a lot of why this is a sleeper. There's only 8 copies of this graded. This is October 29th, 1956, by the way. There's one 9.4, but then we got to go all the way down to 8.5, where we get 2 more. So Paul Hornung, great looking cover too of him there. He was called the Golden Boy. That was his nickname, Paul Hornung. Good looking cover. Oh God, I'm so excited about this one. This one's awesome. And I think you may be blown away as to why I think this is collectible, because this is Del Crandall. Fine player, whatever. April 21st, 1958. There's 1 copy graded. That's it. It's a 7.0. I do own a couple copies of this. They're not graded yet. They're at CGC waiting to be graded. This is why this is an awesome issue and a total sleeper. So this, again, April 21st, 1958. If you're a big golf fan and a big fan of the Masters, you know that there's a lot of great terms for the Masters, but one of them is Amen Corner. And this issue was where the term Amen Corner was used for the first time and coined. I just think that is such a cool story. When I submitted my copies to CGC, I sent them the Wikipedia, stating that, this is the origin of Amen Corner. I'm praying that they put that information on the slab, on the notes, because I just think that's what makes these similar to graded game tickets. It talks about how, this is Mickey Mantle's 500th home run, or Mickey Mantle's, first major league game debut in this game ticket. I think that just helps tell the story of collectability so much more. So I'm a massive fan of this Del Crandall issue where the term Amen Corner was used for the first time ever. Again, April 21st, 1958. And there's only 1 of these graded right now. It's a 7.0. I think mine's going to be right in that range too. It'd be nice if I could beat that 7.0, but it's going to be close for mine. This is a fun cover. So this is June 1st, 1959, scuba divers. Now, why the hell is Jim putting, scuba divers, as a sleeper issue? That's actor Gary Cooper on the cover. So there's a number of non-athletes that have appeared on Sports Illustrated covers. I pushed this out on social media on President's Day. There's been 5 covers with either future or current presidents on the cover. Ernest Hemingway's been on a cover. Arnold Schwarzenegger, Chris Rock, Mark Wahlberg, Stephen Colbert. A lot of non-athletes, or at least a good number of non-athletes, have been on the cover. I think that's pretty cool. I wish somebody would go into the CGC registry and create a set registry of all of the non-athletes that have been on the cover of Sports Illustrated. I think that'd be a really fun run to create and collect. So Gary Cooper on the cover of Sports Illustrated, 1959. Pop count, there's 1. That's it. And it's an 8.5. Next up, just like I was talking about, presidents and non-athletes on the cover of Sports Illustrated. How can you not freaking love this one? December 26th, 1960. Not only do you have John F. Kennedy, but you got Jackie O on the cover too. And pop count, 2. That's it. 2. There's a 7.5 and a 5.5. This issue is impossible to find in newsstand. And, obviously very condition sensitive, because the highest graded copy is only 7.5. So love that John Kennedy on the cover of Sports Illustrated from 1960. Here's another one. Bob Hope. So this is June 3rd, 1963. Interestingly enough, why Bob Hope was on the cover, he was a part owner of the Cleveland Indians in 1963. Pop count on this, there's only 3. There's a 9.0, there's a 6.5, and there's a 5.5. I used to own this one, but I do not currently own that one. Okay, this is a fun one, and we're in a little bit of a stretch here where I'm obviously going to be showing my Chicago sports fan bias, because we're going to see a number of Chicago guys in a row. Just prepare yourself for that. If you don't like it, too bad. Start your own YouTube channel. Okay, this is December 2nd, 1963. Chicago Bears on the cover. And number 28 there, that's fine. He's being featured. But what I'm most interested in is this guy down here, number 88. That's Mike Ditka. This is the first Mike Ditka cover appearance on Sports Illustrated. It was the only time he was on the cover as a player. I think he was only on a cover twice, and his second time was when he was coach of the Saints. No good. This cover is so awesome, so much fun. December 2nd, 1963. There are 0 copies of this graded in the CGC census. I've been on the hunt for this one in newsstand for years, have never been able to find it, and I'm still looking for it, but super underrated because most people don't know that that's Mike Ditka down there, and this is his first Sports Illustrated cover. I'm surprised I have to do this as a sleeper, but it is. Roger Staubach. Okay, so All-American at Navy, incredible, amazing, gets drafted by the Cowboys, wins Super Bowl for the Cowboys. I mean, there's still probably no bigger brand in sports, maybe the Yankees, but I still think it's the Dallas Cowboys are the biggest brand in sports, adds to their collectability. This is Roger Staubach's first Sports Illustrated cover, December 2nd, 1963. Pop count is 3. There's a 9.2, a 5.5, and a 4.0. That's a pretty big drop off from a 9.2 to the next highest graded being 5.5. I own some raw copies of this. They have not come back graded yet. Oh, this is such a great looking cover. So this is obviously Muhammad Ali. This is his second or third cover. It's from February 24th, 1964. I think this might be his second cover. He was Cassius Clay back then. Super condition sensitive. You can tell, look at all that black and dark ink on this cover. I just love him standing in front of a bank mall vault, surrounded by stacks and stacks of money. He's a young looking Muhammad Ali or Cassius Clay here. Pop count is only 9. There's a 9.0, and then we got to go all the way down to 7.0 for the next highest graded, just kind of proving my point about how that issue is very condition sensitive. Another Chicago guy. I think this one is fun. It is October 12th, 1964. This is Dick Butkus and his first Sports Illustrated cover. Really condition sensitive, really hard to find in newsstand. Only 7 copies graded. There's a 9.4, an 8.5, and a couple of 7.2s. Yeah, this is where I was talking about my Chicago bias. Okay, so this is me for personally. Stan Mikita, first Sports Illustrated cover, January 31st, 1966. And what was so fun about Stan Mikita, much later on in the 90s, is he was made famous again to a whole nother generation because of the Wayne's World movies. Famously, they ate at a place called Stan Mikita's Donuts, which isn't a real place, but it had this rotating, big, almost like the Big Boy, but it was a hockey player, and it was Stan Mikita, this huge statue rotating on the front of the building, and it was so cool. And Ed O'Neill was the manager of Stan Mikita's Donuts, and it was all over Wayne's World. Obviously, I'm a huge Chicago sports fan and love the Blackhawks. I think this one flies under the radar. We always talk about Gordie Howe and Wayne Gretzky and some of the other big hockey guys. Stan Mikita is one of the all-time greats, Hall of Famer. Get ready for the pop count on this. 1, that's it. I own it. It's a 9.0. That's part of what drove me to put this on this list here too, is that pop count is super, super tiny for a major Hall of Famer in hockey. This one totally flies under the radar. This one is fun. March 28th, 1966. That Kentucky player right there is Pat Riley. And this is his first ever Sports Illustrated cover. Just 5 of these in the census. There's a 9.2 and 2 9.0s. I think Pat Riley is more known certainly for his coaching, years and as a GM of the Heat than as a player, but certainly was a good player as well. And so I love that Pat Riley cover. Good one and definitely underrated. This one is criminally underrated in my opinion. John Havlicek, great player for the Celtics, amazing. This is one of the most beautiful first covers I've ever seen. So you got Havlicek there in his green Celtics uniform. You got this backdrop banner behind him of the World Championship banner. It's just that white and green just comes popping out of this image, and there's no headline. That's it. You just got the banner up top, and it just says John Havlicek right there. Super, super difficult issue to find, especially in a high grade. The pop count is 5. There's a 9.0 and there's 2 8.5s. I had a deal to buy a newsstand copy of this issue years ago, and we had negotiated the price and all that sort of stuff, and the seller backed out on me. Still crushing and painful to have missed out on that one all these years later. Love that Havlicek. This is Lou Alcindor, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. This is his Sports Illustrated cover from April 3rd, 1967. Pop count is 12. There's a 9.6, a 9.2, and a 9.0. Why does this one fly under the radar? Because his first cover stinks so bad. His first cover is famously, it's this gatefold fold out. All you see is Kareem's leg. I did a video on this a couple of years ago about the worst first covers. This one was the absolute worst of the worst. So this is Kareem's second cover. Kind of flies under the radar and kind of a bit of a sleeper because you wouldn't expect it to be so collectible. And it really is because his first cover is, I mean, just not that appealing and not that collectible because he's really not on it. More Chicago guys here, but got Pete Rose on this. So this is September 8th, 1969. This is both Pete Rose and Ernie Banks' second ever Sports Illustrated cover appearance. I love second covers. I just saw an article recently too about how second covers are kind of making a comeback in this, or second cards in the sports card hobby are kind of making a comeback. You know, obviously people want rookie cards, and then when you can't get that, they started collecting their second card, and then that kind of faded away, but it's really starting to come back recently. You see the same thing in Sports Illustrated. If I can't afford that Pete Rose first cover, that Ernie Banks first cover, this is a nice substitute. And I love multiple Hall of Famers on the cover. Got a nice clean shot of both of them in the game. Ernie Banks keeping Rose on first. Just a great one. Pop count 3. That's it. A 9.2, then you got to go all the way down for the next one. It's a 6.5, and then there's a 6.0. Just a great looking cover and criminally underrated in my opinion. Here we go, Bobby Orr. So again, this goes back to, you know, visual appeal of covers, pop count, superstars, early covers. So this is May 4th, 1970. This is Bobby Orr's third Sports Illustrated cover. Everybody loves his first cover. He's got that bloody nose and just fantastic. I love old time hockey. I love images of them skating around without any helmets on and without any teeth in their mouth and that sort of stuff. This is just a great action game shot of Bobby Orr, and I love that headline, Boston's Mighty Orr. Pop count is 4. There's a 9.0. I own that one. And then you got to go all the way down to 7.0. There's a 6.5 and a 6.0. This is after his first cover. This is my favorite Bobby Orr cover, and this is his third one, and it's just a great looking, beautiful looking cover there. Another second cover, another guy that doesn't have a great first cover. This is Johnny Bench, July 13th, 1970. His first cover's, it's okay. It's not great. He shares it with a bunch of other rookies, probably 5 or 6 guys on the cover total. I think all the other guys never really amounted to very much. This is the Johnny Bench cover you want to collect, in my opinion. This is him and his catcher's gear. He's got his mask off. He's going back, looks like to catch that, you know, pop-up foul ball or something like that. Love this cover. Pop 3. That's it. 8.5, 8.0, and 6.0. Super sleeper issue. I think this guy gets left out a lot of when you talk about great Steelers and that sort of thing. So this is Mean Joe Green, his first cover. It's from October 11th, 1971. Only 3, really low pop count. There's an 8.5, a 6.5, and a 5.0. And again, you know, Mean Joe Green played for the Steelers. Everything Steelers is hugely collectible. You know, won Super Bowls. Had a great nickname, Mean Joe Green, famously appeared in that Coca-Cola commercial, which is still iconic to this day. I think all of that lends to the collectability of this. I love this one. I do own it. And it's at CGC being graded right now. This one's fun. So this is Larry Zonka and Jim Kick. It's the first cover for both of them. Neither of those guys are, you know, super collectible. Certainly Kick's not. Zonka, you know, maybe a little bit. But this is a very famous Sports Illustrated cover. If you can look closely at this, and this is from August 7th, 1972, Larry Zonka's flipping the bird. And he's talked about that in interviews years later. That was absolutely intentional on his part. They were taking a ton of photographs. He was kind of tired and didn't want to do this anymore and just threw up the bird. And Sports Illustrated kind of missed it and put it on the cover. So I think that makes this a really fun issue. There are 2 copies of this graded. There's a 9.4 and there's also an 8.0. Next up, I'm a big horse racing fan. I'm a horse racing fan. I'm not going to say I'm a huge horse racing fan, but I love the Kentucky Derby. I've been to it in person. I love the Triple Crown. I just think horse racing is a throwback to just an earlier time and a ton of fun. This is Secretariat, probably easily the greatest horse ever. This is June 11th, 1973. It's Secretariat's first ever cover appearance. There are 19 of these. There is one 9.8. It blows my mind that a 9.8 in this issue exists. I do own it at 6.0. He was on the cover of Time magazine. He was on the cover of Newsweek, on the cover of Sports Illustrated. I love the nostalgia around horse racing and everything Secretariat, and I think that one flies under the radar a good bit. Okay, this is a great cover. This is just such a great cover, and I talk about this in a lot of all of my videos. These Sports Illustrated, and I don't want to dog on sports cards, but why is collecting Sports Illustrated different than collecting sports cards? Two big things, in my opinion. The imagery. These are a work of art. They are absolutely a work of art. Not saying sports cards aren't, but these are much more so a work of art. This is a gorgeous looking cover. You've got all those different covers and those artist renderings. By the way, this is the Ali Foreman fight. This came out on October 28th, 1974. But the other big part of why I love Sports Illustrated is much more so than sports cards. It captures moments in time and iconic events. This is the freaking Rumble in the Jungle issue. Ali was a 4-1 underdog, the famous rope-a-dope fight. And he goes on and he beats George Foreman. Captured brilliantly in this cover. I love this cover. I love everything about it. The fact that Rumble in the Jungle, which I can't believe Sports Illustrated didn't use that headline here, but whatever. But it's the Rumble in the Jungle fight. It's the classic rope-a-dope strategy that Ali used. He was the underdog. He came back to win. Gorgeous looking cover. This cover's criminally underrated. I love it. There's 8 copies out there. There's a 9.0, there's an 8.5, and there's 2 8.0s. I do own one of those 8.0s. That's just a great looking cover. All right, next up here, we got Larry Bird. So this is his 3rd Sports Illustrated cover, but it's his first pro cover. His first 2 covers were in his Indiana State uniform. This is November 30th, 1981. 3 copies. That's it. The highest graded is 8.0. Come on. It's freaking Larry Bird. It's an awesome looking cover. Doesn't hurt that Dr. J's on there too, defending that jump shot. Love that one. Okay, this is a fun one. So this is April 28th, 1980. This is North Carolina men's basketball. You got Dean Smith there. You got the starting lineup, right? Nope. You only got 4 players. By the way, this is James Worthy's first cover too. Who's missing? Just Michael Jordan. That's it. This should have been Michael Jordan's first cover, but back then, Dean Smith in North Carolina famously had a rule that freshmen were not allowed to talk to the media and not to appear on things like Sports Illustrated covers. So while Jordan was the starter, Dean Smith wasn't going to put him on the cover because he was a freshman. So a couple of cool things. James Worthy's first cover, that's pretty good. That'd probably be enough to make this a good sleeper issue. But the fact that they only got 4 players on there and the missing guy is Michael Jordan, and this should have been his first Sports Illustrated cover, but it wasn't, makes this issue even cooler. 5 copies exist. There's a 9.2 and an 8.0. Those are the highest graded ones. That's a fun one. Again, what I just talked about, capturing a moment in history. This is the famous Dwight Clark touchdown catch to beat Dallas in the NFC Championship game where the 49ers would go to the Super Bowl and go on. Joe Montana would go on to in that Super Bowl to beat the Cincinnati Bengals and win the 49ers' first ever Super Bowl. You don't get that nearly as much from sports cards, and that's why these graded Sports Illustrateds are just so much more fun, in my opinion. So great catch there by Dwight Clark in the end zone. It was the catch. As it's really still known today, January 18th, 1982, only 5 copies have been graded. There's a 9.2 and there's 2 7.5s. Next up, multiple Hall of Famers. Yes, sir. Thank you very much. This is Bernie Kosar's first Sports Illustrated cover. I think it's Marino's 2nd or 3rd. September 5th, 1984. Those Cleveland fans, they love their sports. They love their Browns. And all their big players that have been there. Only 4 copies of this graded. 9.2 is the highest, and there's 3 8.5s. Great looking Bernie Kosar for Sports Illustrated cover. I've got a ton of nostalgia. And by the way, I'm a Cubs fan, so I got no love for the Mets. But I do have a lot of nostalgia for those mid '80s Mets with Dwight Gooden and Darryl Strawberry and all those guys that were just so amazing. And so this is Rick Sutcliffe's first Sports Illustrated cover. It's also Dwight Gooden's first Sports Illustrated cover. It's September 24th, 1984. Gooden was the Rookie of the Year that year, and Sutcliffe was the Cy Young. 3 copies graded. That's it. There's 2 8.5s. Those are the highest. This one blows my mind. So this is Cal Ripken Jr.'s first Sports Illustrated cover. That's Cal Sr. on the cover with him. That's Billy Ripken on the cover with him. Of course, the only reason I know Billy Ripken exists as a player was the famous Fleer error card with, you know what, scribbled on the bat in the bottom there. So there's a lot going on here and a lot to really enjoy about this cover. They all played for the Orioles. This is March 9th, 1987. 3 copies graded. It's just Cal Ripken. That's it. It's just his first cover. Iron Man Cal Ripken, Hall of Famer, all-time great. We only got 3 of these graded. There's a 9.4, there's a 9.2, and there's a 7.5. I do own a copy of this. It's being graded at CGC right now. A lot of these I don't own. This one's great. Bo Jackson, December 14th, 1987. We had never seen a modern two-way player like Bo playing 2 different sports. 2 ways, shoot, 2 different sports. I think as time goes on, the nostalgia factor for Bo Jackson keeps growing and growing. His first cover, not great. Second cover's amazing in his minor league baseball uniform. But this cover just does an amazing job of capturing that, where they superimpose him playing baseball and him playing for the Raiders, and they put it on the cover. I love the headline, Which Way Bo? December 14th, 1987. Only 3 copies graded, 9.2, 9.0, and 8.0. I do own this one. I think I own a couple of them, and they're at CGC. Being graded like so much else. I had to put a Tyson cover on here as we get into the 80s. So this is July 4th, 1988. This is the famous Tyson-Spinks fight where Tyson knocked out Spinks in 91 seconds. Obviously, we all love Tyson's first cover. There's a lot of them to love. I think this one kind of flies under the radar. I love that it shows the moment Tyson hits him and knocks him out. I love the headline KO. And this really kind of was in that time, if you were, like I was a teenager back then, so I was way into Tyson and bought all his fights on pay-per-view. But this was in that time where it became a running joke. You paid, 70, 80, $100 for the Tyson fight, and you'd see, 6 undercards, and the thing would last 6 or 7 hours. And at 1 a.m, Tyson would come out and fight, and the fight would be over in a minute. And this was kind of the pinnacle of that, like, really short Tyson fight era there, the 91-second knockout against Michael Spinks. Always been a big fan of that. All right, last one. You knew I had to throw a Jordan in here, and this is my Jordan sleeper. Couple of reasons on this. This is March 13th, 1989. Super condition sensitive issue, although there is 2 9.6s. There's a 9.2 and 2 9.0s. I own this. I think it's an 8.0. There's only 14 total copies graded. Really, really, really tough to find in newsstand. Maybe one of the hardest copies of the early Jordan issues to find in newsstand. And that is Akeem Olajuwon down there in the corner too. So those are the vintage sleeper issues. I hope you enjoyed those. If you have ideas for me to do future videos, drop a comment here on YouTube. While you're here, subscribe. Follow me on social media, Twitter, TikTok, Instagram. If you have not joined the Facebook group page yet, what is wrong with you? Just go to Facebook and search CGC Sports Illustrated. Unboxing videos will be coming soon. CGC has just announced that they finally started grading and encapsulating magazines again, so we'll start getting back to some unboxing videos real soon. Thanks for watching. Appreciate it.